The abandoned corridors of Athena Prime stretched before Lyra, like the veins of a dying beast. Cold, fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting long shadows across the metal floors. Each flicker matched the rhythm of her breathing, steady and controlled. The space station, once a crowning achievement of the Galactic Alliance, now drifted in silent orbit around a steel-colored planet dimmed by distant starlight. Lyra moved with practiced precision, her blue Dravian armor catching what little light remained in the hallway. The ancient scratches and bullet marks on her chest plate told stories of battles fought and enemies vanquished. In the year 2374, 7 years after the devastating Galactic Alliance Dravia War, technology had begun to crack and falter. Athena Prime was no exception, its cooling systems wheezing like labored breath through the station's skeleton. The Dravian warrior had a singular purpose: to find the memory core, a Dravian device that recorded ancestral memories. Her superiors had sent her to this derelict station with clear instructions: retrieve the core and bring it back to Dravia for their continuing struggle against the Alliance. The device held the collective wisdom of generations, the very essence of what it meant to be Dravian. In the wrong hands, it could be weaponized against her people. In the right hands, her hands, it could restore what the Alliance had taken from them. As she rounded a corner, Lyra's enhanced senses detected movement ahead. She paused, hand hovering over the plasma dagger at her hip. 5 shadowy figures emerged from a maintenance shaft, their outlines unmistakably human. Terran mercenaries, by the look of their mismatched armor and ragtag weapons. They spotted her immediately, raising their weapons in unison. "Freeze! Dravian!" the leader's voice echoed through the metal hallway. "There's a hefty bounty on your kind these days." Lyra assessed the situation in milliseconds. 5 opponents, armed with standard Terran pulse rifles. Poor positioning, overconfident. A smile touched her lips, cold and predatory. "This doesn't have to get messy," another mercenary called out, his rifle trained on her chest. "Come quietly and—" He never finished the sentence. Lyra moved like liquid mercury, crossing the distance between them before the man could pull the trigger. Her armored boot connected with his throat, crushing his windpipe with a sickening crack. Without pausing, she pivoted toward the second mercenary, her iron gauntlet twisting his wrist until bones snapped like dry twigs. The remaining 3 opened fire simultaneously. Lyra's body responded with the precision her trainers had beaten into her since childhood. She ducked under the first volley, rolled forward, and came up directly in front of the third mercenary. Her elbow drove upward into his jaw, lifting him off his feet before he crumpled to the floor. The 4th and 5th attackers backed away, fear now evident in their eyes. One fired wildly, the energy pulse scorching the wall where Lyra had been a fraction of a second earlier. She was already behind him, her dagger finding the gap in his armor between neck and shoulder. The blade slid in without resistance, and he dropped without a sound. The last mercenary threw down his weapon, hands raised in surrender. "Please," he begged. "I have a family." Lyra silenced him with a precise strike to the temple. His body joined his companions on the cold metal floor. 5 men lay broken around her, their lifeless forms a testament to her training. She hadn't even broken a sweat. Such was the way of the Dravian warrior elite, efficient, merciless, and utterly devoted to their cause. Lyra stepped over the bodies, resuming her path toward the station's central hub, where the memory core would be housed. Then she heard it, a voice calling her name. "Lyra?" The sound froze her mid-step, her heart, which had maintained perfect rhythm throughout the battle, suddenly skipped. That voice, impossible. She knew that voice. Slowly, she turned. A tall figure stood at the far end of the corridor, silhouetted against the emergency lighting, broad-shouldered, with the unmistakable outline of Alliance military armor, though weathered and modified. As he stepped forward, the light revealed his face, Strong jawline, close-cropped blonde hair, and eyes the color of a storm-tossed sea. "Caden," she whispered, the name feeling foreign on her tongue after so many years. The human warrior approached cautiously, hands visible at his sides. "It's been a long time," he said, his voice carrying the same gentle strength she remembered. "You're dead," Lyra stated flatly, though her mind raced. "I watched you die on Kelisar 4. Caden shook his head, a sad smile touching his lips. "You saw what you were meant to see. What we were both meant to see." Memories flooded back. The battlefield of Kelisar 4. The chaos. The betrayal. Caden had been part of her Grey Sun Special Forces team, one of the few humans ever to fight alongside Dravians. They had been more than comrades. Much more. Until the day intelligence suggested a human spy had infiltrated their ranks. Until the day she'd been ordered to eliminate him. "I shot you," Lyra said, her voice uncharacteristically unsteady. "You missed," Caden replied simply. "The first time you ever missed a shot. I wonder why." Lyra's hand tightened around her weapon. "You betrayed us. Betrayed me. Did I? Or did you believe what they wanted you to believe?" Caden took another step forward. "I've been tracking you, Lyra. I know why you're here. The memory core isn't what you think. Stay back," she warned, raising her blade. "You have no right to speak of Dravian matters." "I have every right," he said firmly. "I saved your life on Kelisar 4 before you shot at me. You saved mine 3 times before that. We were bound, Lyra, in ways your superiors feared." A distant alarm began to wail, the station's ancient security systems finally registering the violence that had transpired. Red emergency lights bathed the corridor, casting Caden's face in crimson shadows. "We don't have much time," he urged. "Station security protocols are initiating. Soon this entire section will be locked down or worse." "Why are you here?" Lyra demanded, not lowering her weapon. "Same as you. The memory core. But I'm not here to take it. I'm here to destroy it." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Then we are enemies." "We've never been enemies, Lyra." "Not really." Caden's expression softened. "Come with me. I'll show you what I found. Then you can decide what to do with the core, and with me." Every instinct honed through years of brutal training told Lyra to strike him down where he stood. He was Alliance. He was a threat to her mission. But something deeper, something the Dravian military hadn't managed to extinguish, made her hesitate. 5 minutes, she conceded finally. "Then I decide if you live." Caden nodded. "This way." They moved through the station's deteriorating corridors. A pair of warriors from opposite sides of a galactic conflict, bound by memories neither fully understood. The emergency sirens continued their mournful cry, but no security forces appeared. The station had been abandoned for too long. Most of its automated systems were likely malfunctioning. "The core is being held in what was once the station's primary control room," Caden explained, as they navigated the labyrinthine passages. After the war, Alliance scientists tried to study it. They couldn't crack the Dravian encryption, but they discovered something about how it interfaces with the user. "It contains the memories of our ancestors," Lyra stated. "It is our heritage." "It's more than that," Caden countered. "It doesn't just store memories. It can manipulate them, rewrite them. The Alliance wanted to use it as a weapon against your people, to alter your collective memory and end your resistance once and for all. And you expect me to believe you're here to prevent that?" Lyra's voice dripped with skepticism. "You, a human?" "I'm here because I remember what we were to each other," Caden said, stopping to face her. "And because I know what happens when people try to weaponize memory." They had reached a sealed doorway marked with faded Galactic Alliance insignia. Caden approached the control panel, his fingers working quickly over the ancient interface. After a moment, the door slid open with a protesting groan, revealing the control room beyond. The space was circular, dominated by a central platform where a large, ornate chair stood. The memory throne, as Dravians called it. Around it, dusty control stations blinked with intermittent power, their screens displaying fragmented data. The walls were inscribed with intricate Dravian root patterns, sacred symbols that had once adorned temples on her homeworld. The Alliance scientists set it up here, Caden explained, stepping inside. They were trying to access the memories stored within, but they couldn't overcome the genetic locks. It only responds to pure Dravian DNA. Lyra approached the throne cautiously. "You knew I would come. That's why you're here." "I hoped you would," Caden admitted. "Because you need to see the truth before you take this back to your superiors. There are security measures they installed, traps designed to capture anyone who tries to access it." "Why would you warn me?" Lyra's voice was soft, conflicted. "You know why." Their eyes met across the room, and for a moment, 7 years of separation vanished. Lyra remembered the nights on distant moons, whispered promises, and moments stolen between battles. She remembered his touch, gentle despite his warrior's hands. She remembered trusting him completely. Until she didn't. "The memory core will help my people rebuild what your alliance destroyed," Lyra said, breaking the silence. "Our culture, our history, everything the alliance tried to erase. Your leaders aren't interested in rebuilding," Caden countered. "They want revenge. They'll use the core to indoctrinate a new generation of warriors, programming them with manufactured memories of atrocities to fuel their hatred." "You don't know that." "I do, because I've seen it before, on both sides." Caden's expression darkened. "Why do you think they sent you, specifically? You, who once loved a human. They're testing your loyalty. Lyra, if you bring back the core without accessing it yourself, without learning the truth, you prove your devotion to their cause over your own heart." The words struck Lyra like physical blows. Could he be right? Her superiors had seemed oddly insistent that she undertake this mission alone, despite its importance. They had spoken of redemption, of proving her Dravian purity after her contamination by human influence. "What truth?" she asked finally. "Sit in the throne," Caden urged. "Access the core. See your own memories as they truly were, not as you've been conditioned to remember them." Lyra approached the memory throne with caution. Its surface gleamed with an unearthly blue light, ancient Dravian technology that had survived millennia. The seat itself was carved from a single piece of metal that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously. "If this is a trap," she began. "It's not," Caden assured her. "But I can't go with you into the memories. Only you can access them. I'll guard the door. Make sure no one interrupts." Decision made. Lyra sat upon the memory throne. Immediately. The room's lights dimmed as power redirected to the ancient device. Blue, crystalline formations in the ceiling began to pulse with gentle light, like a heartbeat. The armrests of the throne molded to her hands, and she felt the familiar tingling sensation of Dravian technology interfacing with her nervous system. The world around her faded, replaced by swirling patterns of light and shadow. She was falling, or perhaps floating, through a sea of memories. Voices echoed around her, some familiar, some belonging to ancestors long dead. The core was reading her, searching for the memories that defined her existence. Then, everything solidified. She was on Kelisar 4 again. The battlefield stretched out before her. The sky burned orange from atmospheric fires, and the ground trembled with distant explosions. She saw herself, younger, more idealistic despite her training, crouched behind a fallen transport vehicle. And beside her, Caden. "This isn't the right approach vector," Memory Caden was saying, studying a holographic map. "Intelligence got it wrong. The separatist forces aren't massing here. They're already behind us." That's impossible, Memory Lyra replied. Command confirmed the intel twice. Memory Caden's expression was grim. Command has been compromised. Someone wants our team eliminated. The scene shifted. They were running through a burning settlement, evacuating civilians while energy weapons fire tore through buildings around them. Caden pulled a Dravian child from the wreckage of a home, shielding the little one with his own body as they sprinted for cover. Another shift. Night had fallen. They had made camp in an abandoned structure. The rest of their team scattered or dead. Memory Lyra was treating a wound on Caden's shoulder, her touch lingering longer than necessary. We need to contact command, she was saying. Let them know what happened. And tell them what? Caden asked bitterly. That their intelligence nearly got us all killed? That civilians were targeted instead of military installations? They know. Lyra. Someone high up wanted this massacre to happen. That's treason to even suggest, Memory Lyra hissed, though doubt clouded her eyes. It's the truth. Caden caught her hand in his. You've seen how this war has changed. It's not about security anymore. Not about defending borders. It's about extermination now. On both sides. Memory Lyra pulled away. We swore an oath. To protect our people, Caden finished. All people. That's why I joined your team. Why I fought alongside Dravians despite what my own kind called me. But this, he gestured to the burning landscape outside. This isn't protection. It's annihilation. The scene shifted again. Dawn breaking over the devastated landscape. The communications device in Memory Lyra's hand crackled with a message. Infiltrator identified. Human operative Caden Shaw. Terminate immediately. Authentication code. Sigma 9 Delta. Memory Lyra stared at the device in shock, then at Caden's sleeping form. Her hand moved to her weapon, drawing it slowly. She approached him, weapon raised. His eyes opened, confusion giving way to understanding as he saw the gun pointed at his chest. Lyra, he said softly. Don't believe everything they tell you. Her finger tightened on the trigger. The weapon discharged, but Caden had already moved, faster than she'd anticipated. The shot went wide, scorching the wall behind him. He tackled her, pinning her weapon hand but not striking her. Listen to me, he pleaded. There's a faction within the Alliance working with extremists in the Dravian military. They want this war to continue because they profit from it. They're targeting moderates on both sides. Anyone who might work toward peace. Liar! Memory Lyra snarled, struggling against his grip. Why would I infiltrate a Dravian Special Forces team? Fight alongside you for 3 years. Save your life multiple times. Only to betray you now. Think. Lyra. Doubt flickered across Memory Lyra's features. Her grip on the weapon loosened slightly. A new sound intruded. Distant at first, then growing louder. A siren. Like the one in the station, but different. Warning of something immediate, something catastrophic. The building around them began to shake. Through the windows, Memory Lyra could see Alliance dropships descending, weapons primed. They're bombing the entire sector, Caden realized aloud. Removing all witnesses. He released her and stood, extending his hand. Come with me. We can expose what's happening, find allies who'll listen. Memory Lyra remained on the floor, weapon still in hand, torn between duty and truth. Lyra, please, Caden begged. Remember who you are, not what they made you. The building rocked with a nearby impact. Part of the ceiling collapsed between them, separating them in a cloud of dust and debris. Through the chaos, Lyra saw Caden reaching for her, calling her name. Then, a secondary explosion threw her backward, and darkness claimed her. The memory dissolved, replaced by a hospital room on a Dravian military vessel. Memory Lyra lay in bed, bandaged and bruised. A senior commander stood at her bedside. You did well to survive, warrior, the commander was saying. The human infiltrator has been dealt with. His body was recovered from the site. He saved civilians, Memory Lyra said weakly. Dravian civilians. A cover for his true mission, the commander dismissed. You are fortunate your shot wounded him before the bombing, or he might have escaped with Alliance secrets. Your loyalty to Dravia is commended. Memory Lyra's face remained impassive, but her eyes held confusion and grief. The commander continued. You will undergo reconditioning treatment to remove any lingering effects of your extended exposure to the human. Then, you will resume your duties with a new team. The memory blurred, shifting to scenes of reconditioning. Clinical rooms where memory specialists use technology, similar to the core, to reinforce certain memories while suppressing others. Memory Lyra, strapped to a chair, not unlike the memory throne. Her face contorted in pain as they rewrote her truth. But something was happening now that hadn't happened before. The memories were changing, fragmenting. New perspectives appeared. Security footage from Kelisar 4 showing Kaidan helping civilians after the bombing, carrying a wounded Dravian child to safety. Records of communications between certain Alliance and Dravian officials, conspiring to prolong the conflict. And most shocking, evidence that Kaidan had survived, been captured by Alliance extremists, subjected to his own form of reconditioning before escaping. The memory core wasn't just showing Lyra her past, it was correcting it, integrating information it had gathered from multiple sources to reveal a more complete truth. The visions suddenly fractured. Lyra felt a sharp pain as the core's connection to her mind became unstable. Through the haze of memory, she saw the control room again, saw Kaidan standing beside the throne, his face concerned. The station was shaking, emergency lights flashing. Lyra! His voice penetrated the memory fugue. We have to go! The station's self-destruct has been triggered. She struggled to separate reality from memory. The core was still feeding her images, Kaidan's escape from Alliance custody, his years spent gathering evidence against the war profiteers, his search for her. Lyra, please! His voice was desperate now. The connection is too deep. You have to break it yourself. With monumental effort, Lyra forced her consciousness back to the present. The throne released its grip on her mind, and she slumped forward, gasping. Kaidan caught her before she could fall. What happened? She managed to ask, her voice raw. The station's ancient AI detected the core's activation and triggered security protocols, Kaidan explained, helping her stand. We have less than 10 minutes before this entire section depressurizes. Lyra's mind reeled from what she'd experienced. The memories, they were wrong. What I remembered, what they made me remember. I know, Kaidan said gently. That's what they do, both sides. They use the past as a weapon. A violent tremor shook the room, sending them both staggering. A section of ceiling collapsed nearby, crushing one of the control consoles in a shower of sparks. The core, Lyra said, turning back to the throne. We can't leave it. It's too integrated with the station systems now, Kaidan warned. Trying to remove it could accelerate the self-destruct sequence. Another explosion rocked the station, closer this time. Warning lights flashed as the atmospheric integrity of nearby sections began to fail. Then we destroy it, Lyra decided, drawing her weapon. So neither side can use it. Kaidan looked at her in surprise. You'd destroy your people's heritage? Our real heritage isn't in this machine, Lyra said firmly. It's in the truth, the real memories, not the ones they program us to believe. She raised her weapon, aiming at the core's central processing unit, visible beneath the throne. Before she could fire, the core itself reactivated. The blue lights pulsed rapidly, and a mechanized voice spoke in ancient Dravian. Memory file repair initiated. The throne projected a holographic display, a final memory that neither Lyra nor Kaidan had seen before. It showed them on Kelisar 4, in the moments after the bombing. Kaidan, badly wounded but alive, crawling through rubble to reach an unconscious Lyra. Alliance troops approaching. Caden hiding her body beneath debris to protect her, then allowing himself to be captured to draw them away from her position. His final words before being taken: "I'll find you again, Lyra, no matter what they make you believe." The hologram faded as another explosion shook the room, larger than before. A hull breach warning blared from surviving speakers. 7 minutes to complete depressurization, an automated voice announced. "We need to go," Caden urged, pulling Lyra toward the exit. "Now!" This time, she didn't resist. They ran through the disintegrating station, navigating corridors that buckled and twisted as the structure began to tear itself apart. Emergency bulkheads slammed down behind them, barely missing their heels. The atmosphere grew thin as sections decompressed, forcing them to move faster despite burning lungs. They reached an emergency escape bay, where a single shuttle remained. Caden bypassed the launch controls, while Lyra secured the hatch. The small vessel shuddered as the bay doors opened, revealing the star-strewn darkness beyond. "Hold on!" Caden called as he initiated launch. The shuttle shot from the dying station like a bullet from a gun, propelled by emergency thrusters, through the viewport. Lyra watched as sections of Athena Prime began to rupture, venting atmosphere and debris into space. The control room where they'd found the core was among the first to go, imploding in a silent flash of light. Only when they were safely away, drifting in the void with the station's destruction, illuminating the cockpit in pulses of orange and white, did Lyra finally lower her guard. She slumped into the co-pilot seat, exhaustion overtaking her. "What now?" she asked quietly. Caden set the shuttle's autopilot and turned to her. "There are others like us, people from both sides who've learned the truth. We've been gathering evidence, building a case against those who've perpetuated this war for profit. My superiors will hunt me when I don't return with the core. The Alliance will hunt me too," Caden acknowledged. "They have been for years. But we know how to disappear." He hesitated, then added, "That is, if you want to come with me." Lyra studied him, seeing beyond the changes 7 years had wrought. The lines at the corners of his eyes, the new scars, the weariness that came from fighting a shadow war. But his eyes, they were the same, clear, honest, holding the same light that had drawn her to him years ago. "You still called me by my name," she said softly, "even after everything." "It was always your name to me," Caden replied. "Not your designation, not your rank, just Lyra." She reached across the space between them, her armored hand finding his. For the first time in 7 years, she felt something unlock within her chest, a chamber of her heart that reconditioning hadn't been able to reach. "Yes," she said simply. "I'll come with you." The shuttle's hatch sealed shut, leaving Athena Prime's smoldering remains behind, a funeral pyre for false memories and manufactured hatreds. Ahead, the stars beckoned with the promise of a truth they would discover together. As artificial dawn broke through the shuttle's viewport, casting warm light across their joined hands, Lyra felt the weight of years lifting from her shoulders. She was no longer just a weapon forged in Dravian fire. She was herself again, complex, flawed, and finally free. "Where to first?" she asked. "Somewhere they won't look for us," Caden said, plotting a course into the navigation system. "I know people in the outer colonies who can help us start building a new life while we work." "A new life," Lyra repeated, testing the words. They felt strange, frightening, and exhilarating all at once. The shuttle's engines hummed as they came fully online, propelling the small vessel away from the destruction behind them. Lyra watched the final pieces of Athena Prime disperse into the vacuum, taking with them the memory core and all its manipulated histories. Her own memories, the real ones, were enough. They would guide her forward, alongside the man whose voice had frozen her in her tracks when he spoke her name. "Lyra?" Caden's voice brought her back to the present. She turned to him, a smile forming on lips that had forgotten the expression. "I'm ready." The shuttle accelerated into the darkness, leaving behind the ashes of the past and carrying within it the seeds of a future neither of them had dared to imagine. Not a future dictated by ancestral memories or programmed loyalties, but one they would write themselves, one true memory at a time.